Welcome back to part two. It's Tuesday here on Leading Our Own Way on YouTube. Welcome to the channel. It's our conversation with AJ. If you did miss part one, please go back because that's the introduction to how he leads his own way. But in this latest episode, we explored his journey as a biker and artist. That's where we really covered with it yesterday on Monday, but we go even deeper today. AJ opens up about the personal struggles that shaped him, the battles with judgment, the pressure to fit in, and the moments that forced him to embrace his creative side. His story is about breaking barriers and owning who you are. So let's get right into it. Enjoy. You mentioned about New York, and I really want to show the viewers of the level that you've got to. For these to enter into New York, this is just not you've done and you're making it into New York. There's obviously steps to it. Talk to us about how we're getting these photos into New York, because you're not in New York. Tell everybody where you currently are and where you live in.
Southern Louisiana. I'm in
Yeah.
Asian country, and it's far from everything except for
Right.
Mexico. It's not far from there.
Yeah.
Just putting a lot of my stuff on social media and making the connections.
Mhm.
And this person knows this person, and this person knows this person, and pretty soon, it's all about people you meet and networking. And if they like you, they can suggest you to another person, and they'll you know I met a really great photographer, and through my wife, she's into fitness competitions and stuff, and this guy's a photographer and great guy, and I met him at the one of the competitions, and we hit it off. And then he looks at my pictures on Facebook and on social media, and he was like, well, he has a friend that's an agent, an art agent. So all of a sudden I get a call from her, and next thing you know, she goes, okay, look, I'm going to just take care of everything, and all you got to do is paint and worry about that. I'll worry about everything else. So she's just getting gigs for me, and just started out with her though. But I mean, that's how things happen.
Yeah. I know that firsthand as well. So, the power of connection and networking is super important, isn't it? Before we get into why and how art came about, I suppose I want to know why, more in the recent times, art's is coming out of you a lot more, and that's down to some things that have happened to you in the more recent part of your life, and maybe the last 10 years or so. What have you been through for you? I suppose it's that crisis point, isn't it? Maybe it's crisis or pivotal moment, whatever best suits your story, your journey. What is that pivotal moment for you to change the trajectory of your life?
Just toxic relationships, toxic situations,
Yeah.
toxic environments. Um, it'll run you through the ringer, and it's bad for your mental soul, and it's bad for your inner person. And I wasn't doing art. I was just working full time, and I wasn't doing the art that much. And man, and it it got to me. I mean, the work. It's tough being in a family business. I don't know, whoever is in a family business, bless your heart. But
Mm.
it's sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's toxic. And sometimes it takes a toll on you. And sometimes you have enough, and it's hard to stay. It feels like you're going crazy sometimes. So I just started leaning towards my artwork, and it helps me, grounds me a lot. It helps me calm down. It helps me. Everything's great. Everything's a lot better than it really seems that it is, and it's way better than taking medication.
Mm.
So I guess that's my medication.
Yeah. A great response to therapy, isn't it? Just getting to your passions as well, even just touching on your passions, and like you say, putting those other things into play, what we mentioned earlier with sleep and the way you eat. That freedom, I suppose, on the bike on the way to work as well will
Mhm.
play a huge part. We will touch on some of the things went through personally in the darkness. And I know we're not here to mention people and put people down and whatnot, but it's more about your angle of what you went through mentally and how you responded to that, and we'll dig into that. But I think it's probably really, I really want to know, and I want the viewers to know, of where did this art journey begin for you?
I can't remember the first time. It's been since pre-memory for me,
Yeah,
and I could remember but things that I was like 3 years old happening to me. But so it was before that.
yeah,
So yeah, the first time we ever really figured it out that I was doing something different than everybody else was I was around two or in between 2 and 3, something like that. And my mom was young when she had me, so um, she was like 19 when I was born. So we were at my grandmother's house, and my mom still had all our collection of Barbie dolls. I mean, she was playing with Barbie dolls probably 5 years before I was born, probably. So she still had them all, and they were in like this nice little patent leather case that said Barbie on it, or something like that. And you know how kids are, they draw on shit. So like
yeah.
I opened it up and drew Mickey Mouse, and it looked like Mickey Mouse, man. So I didn't get in trouble. And that's when my mom was like, okay, this something's going on here. So she encouraged me a lot. My family did. So that's the first time I knew that this is what I'm going to probably do for the rest of my life. That's I've been doing it for that long.
Yeah, wow. So the Mickey Mouse, what looked identical to Mickey? Because I'm assuming you watch Mickey Mouse on the Mickey Mouse Club or on Disney or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it was cartoonish, but
Yeah.
I mean, there was no, I mean, the naked eye, you can tell what it was, like it wasn't scribble. It looked like Mickey Mouse.
Did drawing
Wish she would have,
continue?
I wish she would have still saved it. That would
I
been
know I
like,
was about to ask. Yeah, I was going to
that'd
say,
been
have we
pretty
got a
cool.
copy of that?
Yeah, that'd have been pretty cool, but I don't know. It's
Did,
gone.
and did drawing continue for you after that? Growing up, did you draw? Did it just go away? Yeah.
No, it
What?
didn't go away. I drew every day, all day in school, to the point of, man, I would get in trouble sometimes, and I never forget that I was in fourth grade, and my parents both worked. My mom was a hairdresser, and my dad ran the Harley shop, and they both worked hard. And I was in school, and we were doing math or something, and my teacher, I remember his name, Mr. Roberts, and I remember the way he looks and everything. So I was drawing him, and we were supposed to be doing math, and so like we were supposed to be doing our timetables or something, and he was walking around the classroom, and he's like, AJ, and he slams it and he takes my picture, and he looks at me and he goes, I want to see your parents after work today, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm toast. I'm toast. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna be punished. I'm probably gonna get whipping. So I'm like, so like I had to tell my mom. So and my mom and dad, get off of work early and they had to go to school. And so we have a meeting with my teacher, and your teacher's like, we were doing math today, and look what your son was doing. He slammed the paper down on the ground on the desk, and he was like, he was drawing me, and it looks just like me. Congratulations. And I'm like, oh my God. He was doing this as praise. I thought I was going to die any minute.
Yeah.
So that was that was another thing. And all throughout high school, I drew, and I was real close with my art teachers and stuff like that.
Did you ever get picked on for doing art as I mean, what years did you grow up in? What decade was it in primary and high school?
80s.
In the 80s. And yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, was it known for, I hate to say it, but was it known for a boy to be artistic in especially where you are in Louisiana?
No, no.
Did
But
you
I
get picked
was
on?
um, no, because I could take care of myself pretty good.
Yeah.
So nobody ever picked on me or nothing. They were cool. I mean, nobody picked on me. Not that I can remember, but um, I was always into sports, and I hung out with everybody, and I skateboarded and everything. So
Mm.
I did this too. Like I just did it also. And they didn't pick on me because, I would win these competitions in school and I'd have these little ribbons everywhere, so they were like, okay, he's not screwing around, so it's like,
Yeah.
it's pretty serious, so like, no, nobody messed with me.
You were that good. They didn't pick on you. You were that good.
That or they didn't want to get smacked, I guess. One of the two.
Yeah. I know. I think if it wasn't for basketball and me being a fast runner in school, and I was known for that, I'd have been a complete geek, I reckon, because I was in top set for everything through high school. I wasn't the best in the top set or anything, but I was in top set. I had grades to get in because we had sets, levels. And I always say to my son, I reckon I would have been a bit of a geek if it wasn't the fact that I could run and win the 100-meter race. It was always between 2 or 3 of us year after year, and I was pretty good at basketball and I was the captain. So that's really kind of what brought me out of my shell. But luckily, I had a hard guy in the year who stuck up for me because there were some people in other schools that were jealous that I could play ball and they couldn't. So I didn't have the confidence to beat anybody up. So I didn't have your skill set in that sense. So I was always a little bit nervous and timid in that area.
Well,
So
we grew up with boys in our neighborhood. It was like I grew up in a neighborhood that had we had so many boys in our neighborhood that we could have like a 10-on-10 football match, in the field, so like we grew up fighting every day. And we
yeah,
played football in the street, and fell down on the concrete and no pads and broke bones once a week, like, so we were pretty sufficient when it came to that,
that doesn't happen anymore, does it?
Oh no.
Everyone's
Oh no.
it's very precious these days. We can't hurt ourselves or get a bit of a graze.
Oh yeah, no, like the kids these days, they fall down on the street now. They go into the emergency room, you know. Dad
Yeah,
would
we
just
need
like
a
put some
we,
dirt on it, it'd be all right.
we need another episode for that one. I'm afraid, AJ.
Yeah, I think so.
We I think we touched on this, didn't we, in our pre-chat? To be fair, for quite a while,
Hmm.
we talk about this on the podcast on other episodes. But yeah, it's a very interesting topic. So with childhood, then, what was childhood like for you growing up in Louisiana?
The Harley scene wasn't very good.
Mm,
We didn't have a whole lot of money. We were middle class. Um, we what we needed. And we got anything we wanted for Christmas too. We weren't like kids are today.
yeah,
Like we had to work for anything we wanted, and when we got stuff, we were appreciative. You know,
sure,
I remember getting some toys, stuff like that. We had to go to the thrift store, and me and my brother had to share everything. It was like it
that's
wasn't like
good.
today. It was like so we were middle class, working class family. It was cool.
Yeah,
We instead of hunting and stuff, Dad we'd go in the woods, but we were on motorcycles. We rode motorcycles our whole life.
so
And
bikes have been in your whole life then, because you said he opened it in '79. You grew up in the '80s, so yeah, you've been around bikes pretty much your whole
yeah,
life,
yeah,
right?
and we didn't have a whole lot of money, and sometimes Dad couldn't afford babysitters, so he would just take us to the dealership with him, and we would just ride. We had a field on the side. We would just ride bikes all day, and that was our
Super
baby.
cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
We would just burn gas all day.
that's awesome. And because you said whipping before, would you get whipped as a child in your era?
All the time,
Yeah.
all the time.
With what?
A ruler, a belt. Mom would lose it, just beat her with her hands. But she was small, so it didn't hurt that much. But yeah, all the time. Even our teachers,
Oh,
one
really?
of our teachers you'd have to put your hands up like this, and it hits you with a ruler on your fingertips. I remember
Wow.
that.
No way.
Yeah.
God, that wouldn't happen anymore, would it? Even parents aren't allowed to spank the children anymore.
Oh man, I got a funny story about that. We were at school. This is hilarious. I've never. You're gonna think I'm making this up, but
I've heard some stories on this podcast. Don't you
we
worry.
were we were. I don't know what we were doing. We were throwing chunks of concrete at this one kid, and I don't know if we would have hit him. We would have probably killed him. But the teachers caught us, and we had about 4 of us had to go to the office, and we were going to get whippings. So we were like, and she had this paddle with holes in it, and she had a lanyard on it and around her wrist. And she was a mean old lady, man. I forgot her name. She was scary. And
Mm.
we were all crying, oh my God, you know. And so she lined us up facing this way in a line. The door was right here, which opened up like that, okay, behind her.
Mhm.
And she's left-handed with this lanyard, okay? So the first guy, I was second to last in line. I remember that. So the first guy bends over. She goes, bend over. So he bends over and she what? Hits him. And he's like, ah, and he walks out. So the second guy, she goes, okay, bend over. Well, she went back like that, and the lanyard of the paddle got hooked onto the doorknob of the door. And when she hit him, the door hit her in the back of the head and just smoked her. She fell down, bam. And we were like, oh my God, because I was going to be next. And she got up and she was like, yo, kids, just get out of here. And so me and the guy that was last, we were like, we didn't get whipped, man. So we got back to go back to class. We were like, oh my God.
You were saved by the door, not saved by the bell.
Yeah. That's a
Wow,
crazy story.
that's a good story. Very good story. Um, still in your childhood, then, things started to change in your family, how your family appeared and looked in the household around 11.
Mhm.
Your parents separated. Was that a tough time? Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.